Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I would like to call to order the Candidates Public Forum for the Newport News Public Schools for Tuesday, December 17th, 2019. On behalf of the members of the school board and our superintendent, I welcome each of you present and watching. Our quorum is present to transact the business of the school division. Tonight, we will hear comments from the qualified board applicants regarding the vacancy in the Central District that's going to be from our delegate-elect, Ms. Shelley Simons. So, as you hear your name, please come forward. The board at this time, we will consider this an opportunity to listen to your comments. Please understand that we appreciate and will consider you and your comments feedback at a later date. So as your name comes forward, a green light goes on when you start, a yellow light signals that you have 30 seconds remaining, and the red light and the beep indicates that your time is up. So if you've seen some school board meetings before, I'm pretty relaxed when someone goes over time. But tonight, because of the number of people that may be speaking before us, we're going to ask you to abide by the 3 minutes. And so when you hear that buzzard, please complete that sentence, and then we will call the next applicant. That said, we're excited to hear what you have to say, and we look forward. So as we call your name, we're just going to do this in alphabetical order. And if you're here, please come forward, and we will start our forum. So first we have this Marista Auger. Please come forward.
Yes. My name is Maritza Alger.
Alger.
And good evening to everyone. Good evening, Chair Mr. Hunter, Vice Chair Ms. Searles Law, Dr. Parker, and to the rest of the Newport News School Board. Last July, I completed 32 years in public education with 15 years as a principal at a nearby urban district. I started my career as a teacher for students with special needs and moved into the role of educational leadership, recognizing my passion for empowering children and communities. I worked relentlessly to develop and maintain high expectations and instructional focus on literacy. I proudly ended my career with a capstone, making sure that my school, although it was high poverty, was fully accredited. I am a citizen of Newport News for 30 years. My children attended Newport News public schools from preschool through high school. My husband and I were actively engaged with the PTA and supported each teacher along the way. Thanks to Newport News schools, my children gained access to excellent colleges as well as noble professions. I served on the TAG advisory board for approximately 2 years to be a voice for children with diverse needs. I was most concerned for children who were twice exceptional, children who underperformed, and children who needed more social and emotional support. My desire to serve on the school board is one that I have pondered for over a year. I want to extend my reach and my influence by supporting the community here where I live. I wish to highlight some of my experience that I believe will serve me well as a school board member. I currently serve on the Early Learning Standards State Level Committee to support a robust preschool education for children across the Commonwealth. I serve on the state level Governor's School Readiness Committee to ensure that Virginia has well-trained workforce from birth to 5. I served on the district level planning committee, and we focused on the operating budget. We discussed alignment of instructional district priorities, capital improvement, and the vision of the school district. I was part of the Education Policy Fellowship Program at Hampton University, where I learned about the implementation of sound public policy to improve the education outcome for all children. For several years, I lobbied in Richmond to address the issues of teacher shortage, increasing mental health support, and as a Latina educator serving the needs of English language learners. As a school board member, I promise to serve with full commitment and strive to make a meaningful difference in the lives of children here in Newport News by ensuring that all students are graduating college, career, and citizen ready. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Rebecca Eamon. Amen. Please come forward.
Good evening. Good evening, Chairman Hunter, Vice Chair Mrs. Searles Law, Ms. Buffalo, Dr. Parker, and the rest of the members of the school board. As you mentioned, my name is Rebecca Eamon. I am an attorney with a local law firm. I've been practicing in Newport News since 2005, even so I will do my best to keep my comments brief. I grew up in Newport News. I'm a graduate of Ferguson High School, after which I left the area to attend Stanford University and returned to Virginia for law school at UVA. I did practice up in Virginia for a few years before my husband and I came back to the Newport News area to establish ourselves here and raise our family. We have 2 sons. One is a student at Gildersleeve Middle School. The other is a student at Riverside Elementary. I've applied for the school board position because Newport News Public Schools served me very well. In fact, I believe they were instrumental in my college acceptance and preparing me for success there and after. And I would like to help ensure the school system continues to serve all students well, enabling each to reach his or her highest potential. I've been impressed following the recent efforts of the school board to meet the challenges facing our school system. In particular, I've been most impressed with the actions of the school board to build strong lines of communication with the city. A strong school system will only enhance and strengthen the city. And I think my professional experience advocating and explaining positions, negotiating, building consensus can help contribute positively to these efforts. With children in elementary and middle school, of course, I'm keenly aware of our accreditation efforts, and I'm encouraged with the board's oversight and its support of a data-driven approach to streamlining our programming so that we can best meet our students' needs. I've also served as director for a number of nonprofit organizations in the area. Similar to the decisions that the school board is facing with respect to Huntington, those organizations also faced building maintenance, replacement issues that they needed to deal with. And as a board member, I've been involved with capital asset management planning, and I think that experience will help contribute positively to the decisions and planning the school board is facing with respect to the Huntington matter. As representatives from the community, the current school board has excellent representation with education, STEM professionals. I believe that my experience as a lawyer with building consensus, as well as my board experience and my vested interest as a parent, will bring additional skills and insights that will contribute and complement the current efforts of the board for the remainder of this term. So thank you for the opportunity to speak and for your consideration.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Curtis Bethany, third.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Hunter, board members. My name is Curtis Bethany, and to share a little about myself, I am a Woodside High School graduate, graduated class of 2009. After high school, I entered the 2+2 program at Thomas Nelson Community College, and then transferred to Old Dominion University, where I would receive a bachelor's degree in business administration as well as a double major in accounting and finance. Then after my undergraduate studies, I went to work for a nonprofit called the Focus Center, in which we focused on neighborhood revitalization through asset-based community development. While also working at the nonprofit, I also taught PE at Park Place School, which is located in Norfolk. Fast forward to present day, I currently work as an accountant for Ferguson Enterprises. I also have a master's degree in public policy with a concentration in public administration. I have served and currently serve on various boards and commissions in the city. And lastly, and most importantly, I am married to my lovely wife, Samaje. Now, with respect to the appointment process, I'd like to say thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I truly believe adding the perspective of a more recent product of Newport News Public Schools could be of great benefit. One being that I am more in tune with today's student from a generational perspective. And two, I am also a product of standardized testing, in which I believe is an important perspective to have when you look at today's school board. So with that, I say thank you again for the opportunity to speak. I look forward to serving the school system in whatever capacity that may be. And again, thank you. And my name is Curtis Bethany again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Chantel Bridges.
Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Chantel Bridges, and I come to you tonight with over 17 years of experience at Newport News Shipbuilding. I started out my career in 2003 as a designer, so I am an advocate for vocational training. But as I started my career at Newport News Shipbuilding and going through the design process, I was able to finish my degree at Hampton University in business management, which led to an opportunity in our community outreach program called Career Pathways. It's now called Seek NNS. It was with that program that I found my passion working with the local students, the local schools, as well as the families. So for the last 8 years, I and our small team have been in charge of leading several initiatives on STEM readiness as well as workplace readiness for not only Newport News Public Schools students, but all of our local students, but mainly Newport News Public School students. In April, I transitioned into a new role for a 2-year development program. I'm now in talent acquisitions on our university relations and recruiting team. So those skills that I've learned working with our Career Pathways team, I still take to our college students because the same principles apply to our college students as they do our K through 12 audience. I do have some experience as far as volunteerism under my belt. I was the president of PTA at Crittenden Middle School for 2 years while my son was there. He's now at Warwick High School. I am an active member on the PTA, on the board, excuse me. As well as last year, I was on the school counseling advisory committee with Dr. Hines, as well as various school counselors around Newport News Public Schools. And it was through that initiative that I learned a lot about what the local city officials have to offer to our young people to help with assistance, and just making sure that they're going to school and advocacy and things of that nature. So I often ask myself, with my passion for our families and our students, as well as our teachers and faculty and staff, what can I do more? Of course, I'm limited from a business perspective, so I decided to apply to this position. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Miss Elizabeth Gardner.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Courtney Gardner, and I was born and raised in Newport News, and I've raised my own family in Newport News. You have my resume, so I'm not going to take the time to read, which you could read for yourself. But I am going to tell you why I think our school system is so important. Good schools are a top factor among home buyers and business owners recruiting for a quality workforce. So it's vital as citizens of Newport News that we work collaboratively with schools to ensure that our children are receiving the best education possible. A lot of people say that when the current kindergartners or high school graduates, automation will have phased out many of the career paths that are available today. So the challenge is, what, as a community, are we doing to prepare the workforce for tomorrow? We need to be encouraging distinct and creative competencies in our children. Sometimes it feels a little bit easier to create more new programs or innovative learning environments with students who have lots of supports at home or already have a lot of social capital. But what we have to do is make sure and figure out how to create learning opportunities for students who are in our schools who don't have those advantages. Closing the achievement gap, working to include marginalized students are really important priorities. We have to work actively to confront policies, practices, and culture that keep all of our students from different backgrounds and races from achieving equitable incomes. I have spent the past 18 years working professionally with nonprofit organizations throughout Hampton Roads, from the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Virginia Peninsula to United Way to the Newport News Alliance for Youth, Alternatives to Young Audiences of Virginia. Much of my work has been to serve young people. I'm an advocate for positive youth development with the knowledge that all kids need strong supports to succeed. I'm currently the executive director of the Peninsula Fine Arts Center. At PFAC, I work closely with Newport News Public School personnel on many collaborative partnerships, from Artistic Versus to Spark to after-school programming. We have a rich history of creating inclusive programming that is one of my areas of expertise. And we have ongoing efforts to reach out to audiences that may be marginalized either by poverty or disability. I have a disability, so I'm very sensitive on this subject. I have what's called spasmodic dysphonia. My son has a disability of an auditory processing disorder. He is a graduate of the Newport News Public School System, and I know firsthand the struggles faced by people with disabilities. So I believe that it's vital that we're building a network of inclusion and equity for all students. Education is the key to a bright future for both the students and our community. We have to work collaboratively with city and state officials to invest in our schools, our teachers, our children, and their success. Thank you and happy holidays.
Thank you. So this next name, I don't want to butcher it up. Miss Susan Marie, is it Gunti Junkti Young Bluff? Okay, Junkti Young Bluff.
Mix of Italian and German. Good evening.
Good
I'm
evening.
Susan Junti Youngblood, registered nurse by career, military wife and mother by choice, child advocate by calling. I have lived in Newport News since 1992 with my husband Joe and my sons Zebulon and Craig. 8-year-old Rosalind became a blessing to our family as our 30th infant foster child. My children have spanned educational systems across countries and states, educated in public and private and Catholic and Christian, Montessori and DoD schools, in which they experience various classrooms and new learning environments frequently. These varied experiences provided me a wide array of core concepts of what I believe assists any child to learn in the correct environment. I believe the school board should be a representative body of members, the most important being parents. As a nursing administrator, I know how easy it can be to be removed from the daily life of those in our profession and whom we serve, but constant reminder from peers keeps us on our mission. Parents are the first, the forever, and the most vital educators of their child, and I am passionate about that belief. I feel our public schools are called to maximize the potential of all students and meet the educational needs of the children and the parents it serves. Parents should be partners and through dialogue and consistent engagement become part of the process of their child's education and remain actively involved. How many school board members enter the doors of a school to meet with parents and their children for whom they are responsible for educating? In my professional life, I know when the entire patient family was involved, the outcome was more successful. The mission of the school should be no different. Research provides innovative, proven programs that, if implemented, result in positive outcomes for learning. School boards should investigate to find models that result in these positive outcomes for our students. It is imperative that we provide each child the best education of mind, body, and their spirit. As an active member of the community, I listen to business people worrying about drawing workers to Newport News because of the state of schools, parents deciding to move out of the city and public schools in search of better learning environments, military members research assignments based on our schools, parents sacrifice to pay privately for alternatives for children's education. Homeschooling is on the rise. Parents and students' education alike must be the highest priority of any school board, as I'm sure you agree. We must instill in our children the value of education, the exchange of ideas, all of which are valid, and the value of their perseverance to be educated as they choose, whether it college-bound, trade-oriented, business, the arts, or sports. I know that I can contribute to make a difference as part of Newport News School Board. I will work diligently, passionately, and tirelessly. We need to unleash the potential of our students, get down to basics, bring families to be partners in the education of our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Holly Kidd.
Good evening, Newport News School members. My name is Holly Kidd. I am a licensed professional engineer, a former Newport News Public Schools math teacher, and an adjunct professor of mathematics at Christopher Newport University. I would like to serve as an interim member of the Newport News School Board representing the Central District. I also plan to run to fill the seat as an elected school board member when the interim period is over. My qualifications and experience, my interest, and my abilities are as follows. My qualifications fall into 3 areas: school service and dedication, budget and finance management, and construction management experience. I have dedicated 13 years to the students of Newport News teaching high school mathematics from 2003 through 2016. I have a master's degree in secondary mathematics education, and some of my research that I completed during my master's degree is currently being used to teach STEM professional development courses to math and science teachers in Newport News. I served on the State SOL Geometry Assessment Committee and the State SOL Bias and Sensitivity Review Committee in Richmond. I served as a mentor for new teachers, wrote geometry curriculum for Newport News schools, and served on the Textbook Review and Adoption Committee. I have experience working with students from very diverse backgrounds and very diverse outlooks on their approaches to education. I taught courses ranging from Algebra 1 to AP Calculus at Heritage High School and Achievable Dream Academy and Woodside High School. I also volunteered in a remote village, a Maasai village in Kenya, to teach geometry to their children. My son is a graduate of Warwick High School and is now a doctor of physical therapy. I am currently the supervising engineer for the roadway design and construction section for the City of Newport News. My daily job is to manage schedules, budgets, and finances for the roadway construction projects throughout the city. I manage multi-million-dollar projects on a regular basis. I was passionate about my duties to serve the students of Newport News schools and their families. I taught over 2,000 students in Newport News, and I would really like to continue serving the students, their families, and my community. As a civil engineer, the projects I have worked on have always required teamwork to complete the jobs. I'm a good listener, a considerate contributor, and a team player. I volunteer as a team member also on the Newport News Green Foundation Board and the Peninsula SPCA Board. I've been dedicated for many years to serving the students and their families of the Newport News Public Schools. I would really like to continue this service to the schools and to the community. I appreciate your time, and I hope to be able to contribute to the school board. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Dr. Estelle Lang. Dr. Lang? We have Donald Logan. No? Julianne Mars. Mrs. Morse.
Good evening. My name is Julianne Mars, and I'm a recent retiree, having worked 30 years in Newport News Public Schools as a teacher and as a school administrator. I was born and raised in Newport News, and I'm a proud graduate of Ferguson High. All 3 of my grown children are NNPS graduates. I have a vested interest in this city and its school system. I hold an undergraduate degree in education from Christopher Newport, a master's degree in gifted education from William & Mary, and an education specialist degree from George Washington. I bring a wealth of experience, education, and firsthand working knowledge of our school system to this open board position. This has allowed me to identify 4 main points that I would like to encourage the school board to focus on. First and foremost, the relationship between our school board and our city council must be improved. The current state of this relationship is a little disappointing for a great city like ours. There should be frequent communication, cooperation, and collaboration, formally and informally. Our children deserve better from the adults in charge of our city and its schools. Secondly, our school system needs to do a better job of attracting and retaining the best of the best. Though the teacher shortage is not exclusive to Newport News, every year I see some of our best teachers and administrators leave for positions in neighboring districts. Why? Are we addressing their concerns proactively and putting things in place to stop the exodus? We need to think outside the box and find ways to attract and retain the best. Our children deserve it. The idea of retaining our staff leads to my third point. Our teachers and administrators are facing times like never seen before. Children are dealing with more adverse childhood experiences than ever before. They are coming to school with exposure to trauma, which is preventing them from learning and is causing classroom disruption. In my 30-year career, I have watched a shift from teachers being respected by students and parents to teachers being disrespected by many. This allows for a great deal of classroom disruption that teachers are not equipped to deal with. We will never be able to retain teachers without better support for them. I have a plethora of ideas to better support teachers, but I need more than 3 minutes to share them. My fourth point involves the work of the school board and its protocol for approving new appointees. The school board should be more than a rubber stamp. Too many appointees have been hired based on affiliations with sororities, fraternities, churches, without regard to whether or not they are the absolute best person for the job. I am aware that this goes on in many places of business, but they are not educating and raising up our children. We owe it to our kids to hire the best of the best. The school board should take an active role to ensure that candidates are not hired because of who they know, but because of their credentials and past work performance. Otherwise, the vote of the school board to approve personnel appointments is meaningless, unnecessary, and theatrical at best. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Peter Mercer.
Good evening, and my name is Peter Mercier, and I would like to thank the school board for giving me this opportunity to participate in this candid forum. I would like to first give you just a brief biography. I was born and educated in Connecticut, graduating from the University of New Haven with a BS in criminal justice. However, I've lived in the Central District of Newport News for the past 40 years. My career spanned almost 25 years in law enforcement, starting as a Newport News police officer and ending with my retiring as a supervisor special agent with the Naval Criminal Investigative Service. I retired in June 2006. During that time, I received my MA in sociology from Old Dominion University. Upon retiring from NCIS, I was hired by New Horizons, where I taught criminal justice as part of the Career and Technical Education program. I did that for 5 years. In June 2011, I was promoted to Director of Apprenticeship and Adult Training. I held that position until my retirement, July 2018. One of my biggest achievements in that position is I created an extensive online program where we currently have over 150 apprentices that we serve throughout the state of Virginia. I seek this opportunity to be appointed to the board because I feel as though I have a vested interest in education, our community, its students, and its teachers. I'm a longtime resident of Newport News. I have one son who was educated through the Newport News Public School System's TAC program and a Warwick High School graduate. I currently have 2 grandchildren who will more than likely be educated by NNPS. I've been actively engaged as an educator for over 2 decades, not only at New Horizons, but also as an adjunct professor at a number of colleges, including Thomas Nelson Community College and Old Dominion University. I currently serve on the Newport News Public Library Board of Trustees, and I've served on the city's Commission on Youth. I feel as though I have a wealth of experience to bring to the board. I am a student-first educator who believes in serving the needs of every student in Newport News. As educators, it is imperative to close the achievement gap, giving all students a fair and equal opportunity for advancement. In today's age, it's also very important to integrate technology in the classroom and to provide technology equity so that all students have access, training, and experience using the most modern technologies. We must also continually strive to prepare students for college, career, and the workforce. It is necessary to ensure that they are citizen-ready as they mature and move forward. Although college preparation is vitally imperative for some students, vocational and technical training may equally be critical for some students. We have to ensure that all students are stewards of equity to meet the individual needs of every student. Students need to learn to compete in a global and highly interconnected society. We must ensure that teachers and administrators have the necessary resources to help students get to where they need to go in order to be successful. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Crystal Mitlick.
Good evening, everyone.
Leave.
I'm thankful for the opportunity to speak tonight as a candidate. I've spent the past 14 years in public education in various roles. I'm a product of public education myself, and I always knew I wanted to teach and impact classrooms. I taught kindergarten, 4th, and 5th grade, served as a literacy coach in Title I schools, worked at the Virginia Department of Education as the elementary English specialist, and I now proudly work for Hampton City Schools as an elementary language arts curriculum specialist. I'm a graduate of Clarion University and the University of Virginia. I'm a resident of Newport News and have been a proud homeowner for 10 years. I was asked by my friends why I would pursue this vacancy, and I had two very simple answers: to work toward the best possible education for our students and to support our teachers. The foremost reason is one that we all share, but there can be varying focus areas to achieve what we consider to be a great education. My personal passion and life's work is literacy for all students. Frederick Douglass proclaimed, "Once you learn to read, you will be forever free." Literacy impacts every facet of education, work, and life. Our students deserve the freedom to pursue interests, explore possibilities, and inspire others. As a nation, we have grossly underserved our youth by limiting their reading, writing, speaking, and listening abilities. Some students need these vital skills in order to think critically, communicate effectively, and collaborate with others. I was encouraged by a recent webinar from VDOE, which featured Director of Elementary Curriculum Lori Wall. She represented Newport News Public Schools well and shared the strategic plan to specifically target early literacy in our elementary schools. I fully support this work, and if selected, I will encourage support from the board for implementation. All of our students deserve strong literacy skills in order to be college, career, and citizen ready. My second motivation to pursue this position was to serve as a representative for teachers. Too often in public schools, our teachers, who serve in ever-increasing and demanding roles, are left voiceless. Teachers do not simply lecture in front of classrooms and walk out the door with the last bell. They work beyond their contract hours to plan lessons, spend their own money to purchase necessary supplies, use their weekends to analyze assessments, and worry about the welfare of their students, even when they are with their own family and friends. They are caretakers, role models, protectors, influencers, mentors, coaches, and motivators. From my own experience and the experience of those closest to me, I know the depth of a teacher's profession. They love what they do and most certainly want the best for their students, but they also deserve representation to protect their own well-being. In order to retain quality teachers, we must make sure their physical, mental, emotional, and financial needs are met. Teaching is not simply a job, it is a calling. Our students deserve the best teachers, and our teachers deserve the best from us. I believe the Newport News School Board can work to ensure the very best for both students and teachers, and I would gladly welcome the opportunity to serve alongside you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Rick Jones.
Thank you. Just afraid that going alphabetically that my name didn't fall in there, and I thought I'd been forgotten. But anyway, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, and Dr. Parker for allowing us to tell yourselves a little bit about ourselves tonight. My name is Rick Jones, and some of you may remember me as the tall guy from past election cycles. This appointment that we are seeking, all of us, is for the remaining 6 months of Shelley Simons' second term. Very few people would be able to start day one and be a productive replacement for her because of the great knowledge that she has gained during her 8 years of working with Newport News Schools. There's a steep learning curve for school board members, and I'm sure all of you can remember the first year that you were on the board, all the different things that you were addressed with that you didn't expect. That goes especially for these particular 6 months, the budget cycle, which is about to happen now. But I'm not your typical everyday average citizen. I bring special knowledge. You see, I'm a retired Newport News employee of 22 years of service for the system. During those 22 years, I served as an elementary teacher, a middle school teacher, a high school teacher, talented and gifted teacher, a resource teacher. And for the last 15 years, I served in ever-increasing levels of responsibility and leadership and retired as a supervisor in the technology department. Now, during this time that I worked in each and all curriculum areas and in all the support areas. I have vast knowledge of transportation, plant services, child nutrition, and human resources. And during my time with Newport News, I worked in and out of every single building that's used for educational, academic, and support services. As a technology specialist, I spent many hours helping to prepare a budget for board approval. And as a candidate, I spent many hours going over the proposed budget, looking for things to address at budget meetings that I attended for the many years that since I've retired. I'm serious about wanting to make a difference for the students and teachers of Newport News. So serious that I ran for a seat on the board 3 different times. As each of you know, that's quite a daunting task. Most people wouldn't do it once, let alone 3 times. Every time told no, no, no. But anyway, during those elections, I received nearly 20,000 votes, which shows that I have a certain amount of community support. I have many issues and programs that I'm passionate about with Newport News. Probably the most important to me is elementary reading. Too many of our students, grades 3 through 5, aren't reading on grade level, and we don't have the programs necessary in place to resolve that issue. And I would look forward to working with those of you that are particularly interested in elementary education in the early childhood development areas and trying to get something like that established. Now, 6 months isn't very long, but I would promise you my vote on the types of things that would make that better. Choose me because I have the experience in Newport News schools. Choose me because my ability to help during the budget cycle. Choose me because I am serious interested in Newport News. Oh, that was the buzzer.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. But choose me.
And we have Dr. Lawrence Willis.
Mr. Hunter and members of the Newport News School Board, thank you for the opportunity of sharing with you today my interest in serving. Ms. Simon, congratulations. And I'm sure you'll do a wonderful job in offering leadership to the Commonwealth. You know, serving the Newport News schools fulfills a personal mission of mine, and that is making a difference. And to do so, it is serving our children, serving our parents, educators, and employees of the Newport News School Board. I've lived in this community for 19 years and have served on the Superintendent's Roundtable for several years. And thus, I am very familiar with the things that go on in this room and what an impact you have made and will continue to make to this district. But may I share with you my perspective on what is important about serving on the Newport News School Board. First, let me acknowledge the board members have a fiduciary responsibility to all the citizens in Newport News. Board members are responsible for overseeing the funds received from the city to ensure educational programs, staff initiatives, building construction and maintenance activities. Certainly, they all lead to quality, innovative education for our students and making them college or secondary education ready, career ready, as well as citizenship ready. But my primary interests are 3. One is school budgeting. The second is encouraging staff diversity throughout the institution. And lastly, to fulfill accreditation for all Newport News schools. Currently, 12 schools have been accredited, but with conditions. that is not good enough. And I know each of you are working hard to upgrade that. And so I wish to join you. You know, there are other things that are striking and concerning to you probably. Classroom size, bullying, poverty, technology, parent involvement, and student health. All of these I'm sure you are addressing, and I would like to join you. Dr. Parker, Mr. Hunter, and board members, I look forward to joining you as we support together building a foundation of excellence and equity for our children, the families, for the employees of the school division. In conclusion, as a parent who serves on numerous nonprofit boards, both locally and nationally, I am academically qualified to fulfill the position of Newport News School Board. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So at this time, are there any more cards? Are there any more individuals come in? Did someone, please come forward.
John Scott, I was.
Just please come forward, John. Yeah. I do have your name up. I mean, it wasn't on the list here, but please
Thank you.
tell us who you are.
Good evening, Chairman Hunter, Vice Chairman Searles Law, Delegate-elect Simons, the members of the board, Superintendent Parker, and the other willing applicants willing to serve our community. My name is John Scott, and I live in Riverside with my wife Beth, who works for NMPS, running the website for the TV station, and also with our daughter, who is an 11th grader at Menchville. Our older daughter graduated from Menchville and William & Mary and works at the Pentagon. I have an undergraduate degree in physics from Tulane University and a master's of education and training management from the University of West Florida that I earned while a flight instructor in the Navy. I left active duty and began my current civil service career after a brief stint as a consultant. I continued service in the Naval Reserve and retired as a lieutenant commander. I work in data management and analysis at the Naval Safety Center in Norfolk, where we crunch numbers and control the policy that keeps sailors and Marines safe and their expensive equipment operational. Prior to our daughters entering high school, my wife and I chose to send them to Our Lady of Mount Carmel School, where I served on their school board for 3 years as secretary and vice president. I'm also beginning my third term as president of our 860 Home Civic Association. I saw Hamilton this weekend, and to quote its iconic song, I'm not throwing away my shot to address my concerns and give you an idea of the kind of things I think we need that need a fresh look in the district. The school board has the enormous responsibility of managing a $300 million budget, looking out for the interests of 4,500 employees, and providing access and opportunity to nearly 29,000 children. But I would ask you that you consider appointing someone interested in my concerns and those of many in the Central District. Items such as starting the school year before Labor Day in order to allow AP teachers more time to prepare their students, revamping dress codes so that specific improper actions can be punished instead of attempting to control improper thoughts, formalizing attendance policy to acknowledge dismissal after major testing days instead of it remaining unwritten, providing transparency for overall AP performance, eliminate printing class rank on every report card in high school since it labels some students' failures while pushing others to go through undue stress, gaming the system instead of concentrating on learning, and to rethink the policy of near universal participation in AP classes and establish minimum prerequisite qualifications. Please consider appointing someone with strong analytical skills and deep interest in educational policy, and if not me, then perhaps someone who also has AP and college teaching experience, such as Holly Kidd. So, thank you.
Thank you. Please come forward.
Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle Lang.
Hello.
Hello. I was able to make it a little earlier than I thought, but
Okay.
I'm very glad to be here. Thank you for letting me address you all. I am clinical psychologist, doctor in clinical psychology, and I have a small private practice here in Newport News, and I teach at the at CNU. I have been doing both of those things, well, not private practice, but teaching at CNU and working as a therapist for a decade. And I am here for a variety of reasons. I think if I were running for a full term, there would be different things I would want to talk to you about, but given that it's a 6-month position, the things that I want to focus on, I think, are really more why I'm interested in the position and why I think I'm a strong candidate for the position. So I'll start with the most basic, my personal interest, which is I have a daughter who will be entering the Newport News public school system as a kindergartner in the fall, and I know that I'll be actively involved in the school system, so I'm sure you guys will be seeing me in one capacity or another. But I'm a product of public schools myself, and I feel like it's really important to be involved in your community in that kind of way. I want her to have the best school experience. I know beyond her personally, I live here. I've lived here for the past decade. And I understand that the people who are educated here, live here, are going to work here, are going to be my neighbors. I want the people who are educated here to go through the best education, and so I'm motivated for those reasons. As far as my qualifications, I did look at your vision for students to be college, career, and citizen ready. Again, having worked in a university setting for over a decade, I think I have a pretty strong grasp of what it takes to prepare somebody to be college ready, not only to get admitted to college, but to succeed once you are admitted to college. And as some of the other candidates brought up too, I understand college is not the only course to take once you are done with your secondary education, and I value that too. As somebody who works in private practice, I certainly work with people from all walks of life, both as my clients, but also in our office. So I think I really understand the values of the other professional skills that we would hope to instill in our students, and the value that's going to carry for them moving forward in the world. And then Citizen Ready, I'm involved in a lot of ways at Christopher Newport University outside of the classroom, also just here and there in other ways in the community, but I think the biggest way that I kind of put my money where my mouth is with my civic engagement is I am the founder and executive director of a locally based 501c3, Pay It For Her, that works to help women who are struggling, and girls. And so I really have invested in that deeply. I think that's a way that at least shows that I am serious about being invested in my community. But actually, the thing that I think is probably makes me the most qualified is my experience as a practicing therapist for over a decade now. I know how to listen well and to listen carefully. I understand that things are not one-sided. I know how to see complex issues from many different angles, to think carefully and not jump to conclusions, and to have effective communication skills to help find a solution. I know those skills are essential and would benefit the school board in this 6-month position. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Frederica Mays.
Oh, yes. Please.
So, good evening.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, members of the school board, and Dr. Parker. Again, my name is Frederica Mays, and what could I possibly contribute, and how could I be of best service and value to this board, and what could I offer to the teachers' families and educational leaders of the city? I'll start by saying that I am a textbook case of the high school girl who was this close to dropping out of high school. I was on the wrong path and doing the wrong things, but I ultimately graduated from Old Dominion University with an education specialist degree. And I'm thankful for the many Newport News teachers, guidance counselors, assistant principals, and other persons who helped me throughout the years. And in their very brief moments that our paths crossed, their impact on me was great enough to inspire me towards the field of education. I'm dedicated and persistent in helping students to realize their potential and in helping them to aspire towards the greatest that they can be. Collaboration in diverse teaching environments has given me a unique perspective, and as a result of having taught for the past 20 years at the middle school, the high school, and at Tidewater Community College, I believe that I would have something valuable to offer to the board and to the greater community in problem solving and helping to get past the issues and circumstances that we face today, all of us as teachers and students. I'm most pleased with having chaired a committee whose goal it was to mentor and to provide positive reinforcement to students who were at risk of dropping out due to low grades, repeat disciplinary infractions. Throughout the committee, we were able to increase the graduation rate and help these students to stay in school and regain a better perspective and see their way towards success and graduation from high school. It was an amazing feeling if we were able to get one student or if we were able to get 10 students to graduate on time from high school. And lastly, I am bilingual and speak Spanish and enjoy meeting diverse persons within the community and helping and assisting with translation and things. I've done that also throughout my career, and that is all that I have. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. So, or is there anyone else? Is there any other persons? Is there any other persons that we missed? Well, good. Well, with that being the case, I would like to say thank you for all the candidates who have joined us here this evening. The school board will thoroughly review all the applications again. During our review process, we will then select a few finalists, and then those finalists will come in and we will do interviews the first couple of weeks of January. And then from that point on, we will then appoint someone just before or during our February meeting, or no, February. Is it February? February meeting, right? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it on the 21st. Okay, so my board says that we will. I'm reading here, but we will appoint someone at our January meeting. Yes, sir. Okay, we will appoint someone during our January meeting. So we look forward on the 24th. On the 21st, 2020. What I want to say, though, what I would like to say, wow, what candidates and what applicants that we have. The passion that I heard today, I kept my head down because I was writing, just trying to, and you heard Dr. Parker just typing. It was just phenomenal. I'm glad that we have such involved, interested people here wanting to be a part of this board. Our choice is not going to be easy. I wish we had several positions to fill, but there's only one. At this time, we said we were not going to comment, but I will give any of my board members just a comment. No, not at all. Okay, no comment. Well, that being said, at this time, I may have a motion to close our public forum.
Yeah.
Oh,
Second.
sorry.
You heard the motion, you heard the second. It's time for the question. There being none, as there is no other business, I close this forum. Thank you.
He can go back. Yeah. Let me.
So these are lovely.
Thank you.